So one of the reasons why you have to come into these on-site interviews fully prepared by studying all of your technical material and just being ready to present it is because you're going to have to also be very, very present during the interview. You have to be listening to the interviewer. You also have to be aware of how you're sounding and if you're actually saying everything you need to say to give an A grade answer. So I want to talk about the different kinds of answers you can give. The different, I would say, rough ratings of answers. And I separated them into basically A's, B's, and C's. And, hopefully nobody gets less than C's because that pretty much means you're done. But we all want to shoot for A answers, and it's possible, even if you give like a B or a C answer, to kind of save it and turn it around and turn it into something that's decent. So an A interview is just like when you answer it completely and you just give an awesome interview and you just think, oh man, I just killed it. And they're like nodding and they're like, yeah, that's it. So great sign. You want to get as many of those home runs as possible. So unfortunately, we're not going to get those in all of the answers. Possibly you might have to give some B answers and some C answers. So B answer is where you kind of answer the question, but it's not really in the level of detail that you feel like you should be giving. And they're not completely convinced. You can kind of see this in the body language. You can kind of hear it in their, they might ask you like a follow-up question if they're nice. And if they don't, they might just go, okay. And if you feel like you're not getting that full agreement in what you're saying, turn it into like a B plus by saying, if I had access to this information, if it's something that you're just forgetting, just say like, I really wish I could have looked up this diagram, or I really wish I could have looked up this reference material, because I know that it's in there, and I would have used that. I would have used this timing diagram. I would have used this this equation to figure out the right output for the rest of the design, and then I would have been off and running, and then I would have been fine. And that will usually get okay. Well, no one's perfect. No one can remember everything, but he or she, they know where to look for the answer. Okay. And another way you can kind of earn your B plus is if you can give a credible example of how you can do high quality work by, having your book, having the equations there. So, one example was when I was applying for SpaceX. For them, it was very, very important that I can do high quality work in a short time frame. Like when they say short, they mean like, tomorrow. Give me something awesome tomorrow. Okay, so not every company works like that. And my job at the time didn't really give me experience like that. But what I did do in my own spare time was I had actually participated in a hackathon where I built an Android app with one of my classmates in grad school. We pitched it, and we actually advanced to the finals. And that's something that we accomplished in the span of a weekend. We had beat a bunch of other developers, so that was an example that I came back with when I said, you know what, I can't prove it to you in my current job that I've turned around things this quickly, but I actually did it in my spare time when I was, teaching myself Android and building an app, and it was something that was good enough for judges to go, oh yeah, that's one of the best. And that is kind of what got me the B plus. I think it actually got me an A minus. And now I'm going to talk about kind of a C quality answer. So C quality answer is when you did something that's kind of like what they're asking, but it's not exactly what they're asking. You can't really call that a good quality answer. So if they're asking you, hey, have you ever, what's your experience with 3D printing custom parts and getting them ready? And you've never used a 3D printer before, maybe you've used like a CNC machine or maybe like a pick and place machine before, you can say, all right, well, I haven't used a 3D printer, but I've used these other machines. I think the workflow is very similar. After the setup, you're pretty much importing a file, you're making edits to the file, you're optimizing it for the production, and then you're making kind of smart manufacturing, design for manufacturing choices, like thinking about part tolerances and thinking about characteristics of the machine so that you don't get a design that doesn't translate into a good manufactured part. So, see what I did? It was not saying straight up, no, I've never done 3D printing before. Sorry, I guess I'm kind of a mediocre candidate. I guess you're gonna not call me back. No. I turned it around. I I try to get as much partial credit as possible by accentuating the things I've done that are similar, and that will probably bump you up into like B minus territory or B answer. And it's not the best, but it's enough to get you on to the next question, the next interview. And it's enough where if you answer it well and you have some credible evidence that you can pick up these new skills, it's something they could even overlook, especially if you have some more of these really good connections with the interviewer. Like, if you could basically read their mind and figure out what architecture they're using for their product, that they can overlook some of the worst parts about your performance on the one-on-ones and pick you overall because you might still be the best candidate.